What we're going to do is he's going to control from this position right up here. You'll notice that he's got his core in a neutral position. He's got his hand right on the front of that shoulder. So he's monitoring that as he externally rotates, that doesn't pop forward into his hand. So he's going to come up, he's going to give it a 1/1000 hold against the wall and really feel it in the back of his shoulder, and then come on back down. So let's do a few reps. You'll notice that it's almost as if there's a rod going right through his elbow to his shoulder. So there's not movement up or down, it's just pure rotation through that axis. Okay? We usually do a set of 8 with a 1-second hold on the wall on each rep. And obviously if you're a hitter, you can do it on both sides as well, because you do want to be stable even on that non-throwing side. So first thing Mike's going to do is set his feet up about 6 inches away from the wall and get right in here and flatten his back out. Okay? After he's flattened out the back, he's going to try to get the head to the wall while making a double chin. So he's pretty much a straight line from his hips all the way up to his head. What we're going to do from here is he's going to gradually start going up with his hands, noticing how he's staying out in front, not deviating to the side too much. What we're going to do is we're going to take our thumbs to the wall, and then we're going to exhale and let our ribs kind of come down a little bit. Okay? So this is a back to wall shoulder flexion, staying flat here, getting to the wall. What you're going to notice is some of you may be really tight here, or you may have posture that sets you here. There are a couple things that you can do to work around that. One, you can walk the feet a little bit further to make it easier for you to kind of create that flat back posture. So, and the second one is, if you just find yourself getting a little bit locked here, you can kind of make it a little bit easier for yourself just by bending your elbows to get your thumbs to the wall, and then over time we'll gradually work to the point where we can do it with a straight arm. What's very, very important though is that if you wind up having any neck pain, you have any pinching in the front, things like that, don't plow through it. Work within the comfortable range of motion that you have. Okay, so that's back to wall shoulder flexion. Usually do it for a set of 6 to 8. Okay, face towards the wall. Okay, you notice Mike's in a staggered stance. We like to go right leg forward. He's in what we call a neutral spine position. He's not in a big forward head posture. It's a nice straight line from the hips all the way up to the head. He's got a little double chin going here. We're not too arched at our lower back. What we're going to do is we're going to come up to a 135-degree angle with our arms. So as he comes up, you'll see the angle that his arms create to his spine is about 135 degrees. Once we get to that top position, all he's going to do is he's going to kind of tip those shoulder blades back, and then his hands come back to the wall, and then he slowly comes back down. Notice it's not this as he comes back down. He maintains good posture, comes up, leads with the thumbs, and lifts off with the shoulder blades. He's not just pulling through the arms. Instead, it's the scapula, the shoulder blades that are moving on a fixed rib cage and spine. Okay, so that's forearm wall slides at 135 degrees. We do that again for a set of 6 to 8. This is all part of our warm-up. Last one is a low-level cuff activation. We call it external rotations to wall. This is great because it doesn't require a band, doesn't require a cable column, anything like that, and it's a good way to monitor your feedback on a fixed core. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up just like we were doing the back to wall shoulder flexion, but what we're going to have Mike do is kind of line up about 15 degrees off the wall. So he's a straight line, head to hips, neutral spine, good rib cage positioning, good scapular positioning. From there, he's going to take his non-working hand and he's going to place it right at the front of the shoulder. Okay? He's not pushing that shoulder back. Instead, all he's doing is monitoring where that ball is in the socket. And what he's going to do is he's going to slowly externally rotate back and try to touch his hand to the wall. Okay? And not everybody will be able to get all the way back, and you'll notice he needs to bend his wrist a little bit to get there. But the important thing is that he feels it in the back of his shoulder here, and that this isn't popping forward. So it's very important for shoulder health that we learn how to maintain the ball in the socket. And as we externally rotate, there's a tendency for this to want to come forward. So he's using this hand just to monitor where he goes. He's going to come back, push against the wall for a second if he can do it, and then he's going to relax. What I don't want to see you doing is pulling that elbow really far back against the wall, because that'll make everything tip forward. Okay? So we call that external rotations to wall. And rotate. When we do the serratus anterior drills, it's very important to make people realize that we're trying to get movement of the shoulder blade on the rib cage, not just movement of the actual arm on the scapula or elbow extension. So we go through a drill like this, a lot of people will just extend their elbows or they'll crank through the front of their shoulder. What we want people to really do is get that good wrapping feeling. So when we say reach, we're actually kind of using that reach to push ourselves away from the wall. So you want preferential scapulothoracic movement. If you see a ton of elbow extensions, straight arms, it's usually a sign they're moving too much through the arm, or they're really going up excessively through the elbows insufficiently here. So instead, with a good serratus wall side with a roller, really we're limited by the roller here, and and all that motion is really coming from the scap, and you realize that there's still a slight bend in that elbow. So that's the reach portion, reach through the shoulder blade. A lot of people think that these are just arm care exercises. They're actually arm care exercises, but at the same time, we can use these bands to do a lot of core control work. So what I think is great is we can teach guys how to efficiently use their rotator cuff with a variation like, you know, a band external rotation at 90 degrees. We can teach them how to control their shoulder blades if we do something like a Y, or getting some good upward rotation of their shoulder blades, and we're teaching them how to posteriorly tilt their scapula to improve some good core control. The other thing we can talk about doing is various exercises that would be good for core control. So getting them out just a little bit wider so we get some good hip mobility. We might do a wide stance anti-rotation chop. So we're basically telling guys bear hug a tree, resist the rotation that the band